Hey everybody, it's Mandy from Trouble Forge. I have been asked many times what I do when we forget to put aside a cup of yogurt to start our next batch of yogurt. So, my secret is that I freeze dry yogurt to keep on hand. So, I've done a video, and I'll link that in the description, about how to use the freeze dried yogurt to make your yogurt in the Instant Pot. So basically, you're gonna freeze dry yogurt to keep as your yogurt starter. That way, if, you're going away on vacation for a week, or, the kids finish the yogurt and they don't leave you a cup, you forget to leave a cup out when you make your new batch, or whatever the situation is, you always have yogurt on hand. I have not tried this with dehydrating. I suspect it would probably work. I should probably try it and report back and let you know. I know that it works with freeze-dried. So I'll show you what my freeze-dried yogurt looks like, and I'll show you the process to freeze-dry the yogurt. All right, so I don't have much yogurt powder left, which is fine because I've had this for like 2 years. And typically when I keep things in the pantry, I try to use them up within a year or two if it's something freeze-dried that I'm not putting in Mylar or with an oxygen absorber or whatever. So, my mom put an oxygen absorber in that one because she had freeze-dried me some when they first got their freeze dryer just to test it and see what would happen. It works great. I've used this as the starter to start yogurt in the Instant Pot several times now. You could also keep like a mass amount of yogurt powder on the shelf. So, I know that that works really well. You could use this as like yogurt to reconstitute that you could eat, but I feel like you'd have to keep a lot on hand for that. Like, we typically eat like a cup at a time with like some granola or fruit, and that would be a lot of yogurt. That's totally up to you. You can totally do that. You could put some in your long-term storage in Mylar bags or whatever. I mostly just want to make sure that I always have a quart or a half-gallon jar on hand as starter if I forget or whatever. So I already have a container here of yogurt that Bud and I made the other day. So I'm just going to fill a tray with yogurt. That should make me, I might do 2 trays. That should give me probably, I'm gonna guess close to a half a gallon, and then I'm gonna fill my other 2 trays with something. All right, so Bud and I are gonna need to make another batch. We made this a couple days ago. We've had it for breakfast a couple times. The kids have had several bowls of yogurt for a snack. So I left out a cup so that I can do my starter batch or do my next batch. I will link the video in the description on how to do yogurt in the Instant Pot. It's so simple. It's 4 or 5 steps depending on if you want to strain it into Greek. So to freeze dry this, I'm literally just spreading it on these trays. Like I said, I'm gonna do 2 trays. There's a piece of zucchini in this one. So we're gonna pull that out because we don't need zucchini in our yogurt. Anyway, so we are gonna spread this out on the trays. You don't have to make it like perfectly thin or whatever. How thick you make this will obviously determine how long your freeze dryer is going to run. So, that's totally up to you. I tend to do things probably a little thicker, and then my freeze dryer runs a little bit longer. My thinking with that is, it's kind of less work because it's less times I have to stop the freeze dryer and then get out the Vitamix to powder and blah, blah, blah. But totally up to you, however you want to do that. So we are going to spread this on here. I'm going to find something else to put on the other 2 trays, and then we'll get this into the freeze dryer. All right, so I had some tomato powder that when my freeze dryer was acting up, it's sort of dry, but didn't dry the whole way. So I put it in a half-gallon jar, and it's been sitting in the fridge taking up space. So I'm going to put that on the other tray. So we have 2 trays of yogurt, 2 trays of not completely freeze-dried tomato powder. We're gonna put these in the freeze dryer. I lie. I'm gonna queue these up in the freezer because in the freeze dryer right now, I think I have the very last of my zucchini, finally. I don't think there's any rhubarb. I did that this morning. But we're gonna put these in the freezer, get these queued up, and pre-freeze them, and I'll show you what my tray looks like. All right, so this is my apple cider freezer, but in here I have this rack. I bought it from, I think it's called Frozen Right. I'll link it in the description. But basically, it's so you can pre-freeze things before you put them in the freeze dryer. I love this thing. I think it's like $50 or something like that. Zad could have made one for me also, but frankly, for $50, it wasn't worth all of that nonsense. It was totally worth just supporting that guy in his business and buying it from him. So we are gonna pre-freeze, and then out here in the freeze dryer, I have, just kidding, there is some rhubarb. So I have rhubarb and broccoli and zucchini in here. This, I just started this, so this one's gonna probably take, I know it's hard to read the screen. This one's probably going to take till tomorrow, which is fine. That'll give the stuff in the freezer an opportunity to I know there's a lot of conversation about whether you should pre-freeze or not. You totally don't have to. You can let the machine freeze it for you, or you can pre-freeze. That's your decision. I've done it both ways. I would say 90% of the time I pre-freeze. Also, I put up my pantry tour probably a week or two ago now, and I just wanted to show you like my new setup. So I have my pantry here, and this is kind of our mudroom, obviously coats and shoes and the whole thing. And my freeze dryer is right outside of that with the dehydrator on top, which is fantastic because I can literally just take the stuff from the freezer right over here. It's like 10 steps. It's so convenient. So I love having it set up like that. All right, so here is our freeze-dried yogurt. It came out amazing. And this batch actually only took like 12 hours or something, which is fantastic. So I am going to put this yogurt into the Vitamix, pulverize it, and put it into it. Trying to get all this to squeeze in here. All right, so I got a pint of yogurt powder out of those 2 trays. This is perfect because this will give me a good start on, you know, if I need to make yogurt, if we forget to leave a cup out or whatever. So seriously, this is so simple. I'll probably do a couple more of these just so I know that I have backup. I really probably should start working on a stock to put in Mylar bags for long-term storage, but this is great for short-term storage. It'll go into our pantry with our jars. Speaking of that, we need to do some reorganization in this pantry, but I love to powder things. I love to have powdered stuff on the shelf. I mentioned that I don't do oxygen absorbers or moisture absorbers or whatever. So this will be perfect to put on that shelf. And if you have questions about how to do this, let me know. We'll see you next time.